The reservation was for 7 o'clock. It was 6:53 when front Ellison Pruitt walked through the front door of Hargrove's and stopped at the host stand. Carol Mathers noticed him the way you notice someone who carries stillness with them, a quality that makes a room feel quieter just by their being in it. He was tall, late 60s, in a charcoal suit and a tie the color of a winter sky. He stood the way soldiers stand when they have stopped trying to look like soldiers. Back straight without effort, hands easy at his sides, a kind of patience in him that had nothing to do with waiting and everything to do with having learned, a long time ago, that the world moved at its own pace. She was on her second glass of wine. The evening had been pleasant, the kind of uncomplicated Thursday she had been promising herself for months. She told herself she would not get involved in whatever was about to happen at the host stand. And then she put down her fork. Arrived from somewhere behind the curtained partition, with the lanyard still looped over his wrist. He was the floor manager. Carol had seen him here before. A compact, brisk man who ran the front of the house as though the front of the house might otherwise run away from him. He wore the authority of a minor position the way some men wear a new suit. Visibly, constantly, with great care. He looked at the man at the host stand, and his face arranged itself into a particular expression, not rude, not precisely, but certain. Certain that makes its mind up before it looks, before it says a word, before it has gathered a single fact. "Sir," Jeffrey's voice was cordial and clipped. "I'm afraid the dining room is closed this evening for a private event. You'll want to check in with catering around the side. The service entrance is on Maywood." The man at the host stand did not move. He did not frown. He reached into the inside pocket of his jacket with the unhurried ease of someone who has given orders his whole life and has nothing left to prove, and he held out his phone. "Ellison Pruitt, I have a reservation for 7. His voice was low and even. "Confirmation number is right there." Jeffrey glanced at the screen the way you glance at something you have already decided not to believe. He did not step forward to read it. "I understand, sir. But as I said, you said the dining room is closed." Pruitt kept his voice at the same level. "The confirmation says otherwise. Would you like to check the book?" Jeffrey's posture shifted, not retreat, but the small recalibration of a man choosing a different angle. "I'm not sure how that would have gone through," he said. "But we simply aren't able to accommodate walk-ins tonight." "I'm not a walk-in. Still even. Still unhurried. I made this reservation 12 days ago through the Halloran Foundation." Carol watched Jeffrey. She watched the precise moment when the word foundation landed and he chose, anyway, not to hear it. "Sir." "Step to the side." "I'm fine where I am," Pruitt said. He was not loud. He was not angry. He slid the phone back into his pocket and stood where he was, straight-backed and patient, and there was something in his staying that was louder than anything he could have said. The table nearest the host stand, a couple in their 40s, celebrating something, a bottle of champagne between them, had gone quiet. The woman was looking. The man had turned his chair without meaning to. Across the room, a server paused beside the window with a breadbasket in his hand and did not move again. Carol picked up her napkin and set it down. 22 years she had taught high school English. She knew what it looked like when someone was being made to feel they did not belong in a room they had every right to be in. She had watched it happen to students in hallways, to parents at conferences, to substitutes on their first day. She had watched herself not say anything more than once, and had carried that with her. The feeling was specific. The small shame of having chosen comfort over clarity, of having looked away because looking in was harder. She was pushing back her chair. She did not have a plan. She only knew she was going to say something. She would find the words once she was standing. When the sound came from the stairwell, heels on marble, fast, deliberate. Then the door from the private staircase swung open, and a woman came through it at the kind of speed that means something has gone wrong, and she is the one who fixes things. She was mid-40s, natural hair pinned close, a blazer with a foundation pin on the lapel, a small enamel compass rose. Her eyes went to the host stand in 2 seconds. "General Pruitt." Voice broke across the room like a window letting in air. "I am so sorry. I came down the moment I realized." She crossed the floor in 7 steps and shook his hand with both of hers. Jeffrey did not speak. "Diane O.C., she said to the room as much as to him. "Director of Programs." the Halloran Foundation. General Pruitt is our guest of honor tonight. He is the keynote speaker for our annual Civic Gala. He has given 40 years to this country, and he has been standing at your front door for the last. She looked at her watch. 8 minutes. The dining room was completely still. Jeffrey said, "I wasn't." The reservation was confirmed, Diane said. She was not shouting. She did not need to. In writing, 12 days ago. General Pruitt, may I take you upstairs? We have a table waiting. In a moment. He said it gently. He looked at Jeffrey, who had gone the color of old paper. I'd like to check my coat first. A young host appeared from nowhere and took his coat with both hands. Carol realized she was standing. She did not remember standing. The couple near the host stand. The champagne couple. The woman began to clap, a single pair of hands, and then the man beside her, and then the server by the window, still holding the bread basket, and then Carol herself. Pruitt heard it. He turned, just slightly, and gave the room the smallest nod. The nod of a man who has spent his life accepting acknowledgement on behalf of people who served with him, and will not take it any other way. And then he followed Diane Osaze through the door to the staircase. Jeffrey was still standing at the host stand when the restaurant's owner appeared from the back. She had been in the kitchen. She had heard everything through a service window. She put a hand on the host stand to steady herself and then asked Jeffrey, very quietly, to go and wait in her office. Carol sat back down. She picked up her fork. She found she was not hungry anymore, not in the way she had been, anyway. But she ordered a dessert because the evening had become the kind that deserved to be finished slowly. Later, she would learn that Ellison Pruitt had retired from the U.S. Army at the rank of Brigadier General after deployments on 4 continents, that he had received the Legion of Merit twice, and the Distinguished Service Medal, that he had been awarded the Army Commendation Medal early in his career by a commanding officer who would later call him the finest leader he had ever served beside, and that he had spent the 12 years since his retirement founding a scholarship program that had sent more than 300 young people from underserved communities to university. She hearings that accepted the Halloran Foundation's Civic Leadership Award that evening in a speech that lasted 11 minutes and made half the room cry. Not because it was sentimental, but because it was honest, and because he used the word service the way people use it when they mean it, with every bone they have. She did not need to know any of that to know what she had seen. She had seen a man stand still and dignified in a doorway, while someone with a board and a lanyard tried to make him feel like he didn't belong. She had seen him refuse to become small, and she had seen the room, slowly, then all at once, decide it was not going to look away. Jeffrey's suspension was announced to the staff the following morning. The ownership issued a written apology and required every front-of-house employee to complete guest verification training within 30 days. The new protocol was simple. Every name on every list checked. Every guest greeted. The foundation held its gala every year. The year after that, they held it at Hargrove's again. Carol always made a reservation for the same Thursday.